All right, officials of the European Elections Observation Mission, they're just concluding the press briefing, talking about the kind of assessment that they are hoping to have in the next coming days before the elections and also after the elections. She's been able to say that they have 30 long-term and 32 short-term observers who will be looking at the environment right now, before and after the election period, saying that also they will be working with local observers really to just really see and assess the situation in regards to the politics in the country right now and the campaigns. All right, so we want to have a conversation here in studio. As you can see, I'm joined by my guests. I'll start from my immediate right. Duncan Okachi is a lawyer and a political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Betty.
All right, we also have Peter Amunga. He is a political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, Peter. All right, so I want us to start from, what you've just been hearing from the EU Election Observers Mission. And it's really the place of observers in this electioneering period. What exactly do they bring to the table? We have locally enhanced groups like the Elections Observers Group, which takes a look and assesses the situation in the country. But what really is the impact of such groups? I'll start with you, Duncan.
Betty, you know, obviously within the country, you'll always find blame games in terms of this observer is favoring that, and that perception will still be true regardless of how neutral they are. But the international community is also keen on seeing whether the elections are free, fair, and are credible. And that credibility test is actually measured mainly by the international observer missions. And that's why you'll see the international observer missions statements actually, they're actually taken more seriously by the international community. And you'll even see AU itself will also have its own mission here. And the African Union will actually base its report or its perception in terms of whether we had credible elections or not based on their own people who are on the ground.
Right.
And that is very key, because many decisions, if there is any challenge to an election, then their ability to say that these elections were free or fair based on their people on the ground will actually lend credence to the decisions that they will take in terms of embracing the winner, the ultimate winner, according to our IEBC.
All right, but the question also is looking at it from a different angle. Say these, observers see things that are happening, maybe at the polling stations, where voting is happening, and they see things even before the elections, voter buying. If they see, some of the ills in regards to the election process, then the report normally comes after. So how does it help us? Because even in the previous elections, we had, yes, the reports coming out, but it came out way after. So what really is it supposed to help us with?
Observers are just observers. Their work is just to observe. I don't really think they really have a great impact when the elections are going on. Because as you put it, their report comes way after, long after. But we saw in the elections in Gabon, when there was this dispute in that election, we saw how these observers came up, and actually they were able to help shape the international opinion of what was going on in Gabon. So their main role is mainly to shape international opinion of what's going on. But so
it's not really to help us,
No, I highly doubt if they have any much impact on what we are doing. We saw the disputed election of the year 2007. Yeah. We had observers here. But remember, until when people like Kofi Annan came in, I don't remember the observers even saying anything much that could change the situation at that time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll leave that conversation and let the audience decide. But I also want to talk about a bit of politics that has been happening over the last couple of days. And I want us to start from that opinion poll that was released just about 2 days ago by Infotrack. It suggests that President Uhuru Kenyatta is ahead of Raila Odinga with about 5%. But there's also the question of undecided voters. What gives President Uhuru Kenyatta an edge? Is it the region base? Is it that, he has that incumbency benefit to him? What is that thing that, he's still ahead of Raila Odinga? Or is he just simply the preferred presidential candidate?
But even as I respond to that question, there have been a lot of question marks in terms of the credibility of the reports we get from these opinion pollers. And that is why the government had moved in haste to try and have a statute to regulate them, which has not actually been effected to date. And the benefit mainly is to the incumbents. And you will actually see that it is not something that is all akin to only the Kenyan democracy. Even in the United States, opinion polls had put Hillary Clinton way ahead of Donald Trump. But when you came to elections, a different result turned out. So,
but that election, Duncan, has issues whether the Russians were involved. So we really don't know.
it has issues, but as far as the polls are concerned, that is actually what we have. Similar to the Kenyan polls in 2013 and even previously. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the incumbent always has a way of influencing, and not only the incumbent, even the opposition, because it has reached a point where it goes to the highest bidder. And that's why how these polls are done is actually key. But for what it's worth, it's also important to take it for its face value and discuss it. And that is why, personally, I think incumbency always helps. Financial aspects always helps. But more importantly, you have to look at these particular numbers of these people who are not yet decided. And as we were discussing with my learned panelist during the break, it depends with where they come from. And they have the ability to actually change. But more importantly, we also have people have the ability to also shift. It doesn't mean that once you've taken a position, it will remain. But as far as that poll is concerned, it is still a very slim margin if actually it is to be taken at face value, because these other variables can easily change and tilt it in favor of any other party, or even increase the margin of the person who is leading.
Who is leading?
But
yes.
I want to say there's some consistency in these opinion polls. If those of us who have been watching and studying them, one of the consistency is that President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained to be leading. He has been leading all since. And as you ask, is it the incumbency? Yes, it has a role it's playing. He's the president. We expect even those undecided voters at one moment, they'll want to identify themselves. Okay, research has it that undecided voters will always identify with the winning candidate. If they notice that this is the side that is winning, they will go that side.
But remember that these undecided voters have, but remember also that these undecided voters have been, even the last poll that we had, they were still almost at the same number. So it seems that, up until now, they're still undecided. They're not affiliating to the incumbents.
And I was reading that poll, and it was saying that the Western region, actually the former Western province, is right now having most of the undecided people. And Western province has always been one of the most democratic regions in this country. We expect the people of Western to make very informed decisions. Most likely they are listening to the media houses, they are listening to the leaders, and they will make a decision. But I want to say this. My dear panelists may dispute this, but research has it that they will always tend, undecided voters will always tend towards the winning candidate. Even if you're watching a football match and one of the teams is on the winning side, and you didn't know which team to support, the moment you discover this team is winning, you discover you maybe start supporting that team.
All right.
Betty, I doubt that highly, and I don't know which football my panelist actually watches, because ideally you find that underdogs always get more support. The person who has won many times in the trophy, you'll actually find people will actually tend to give, and that's where sympathy votes even come in, and that is something that you cannot wish away. The aspect that the polls have been consistent is also a fallacy, because we've had polls just 2 months ago which pitted Raila Odinga ahead of Uhuru Kenyatta. And that's why we've had polls in this country, and history will bear me true, it's recorded. But again, that is actually what people want to see. You'll actually concoct polls to actually show a certain trend with the view that someone has told you, research has it, that people will actually align to you because you're winning. But the politics of this country is very different. People who have decided that we are going to vote for this person will vote for that person. Opinion poll yes or no. It doesn't matter. They will actually, even if they always say, you will lose with my polling, with my vote in your pocket.
Yes.
And that is actually the sense of it. And the truth of the politics in this country. It's not even issue-based, so that you'll come and convince someone left, right, center. It's not even manifesto-based. So that the Western province is talking about is actually a stronghold of the opposition. Who doesn't know?
No, that
this
one is
time
not
round,
a right.
This time you'll have your chance, and you'll tell us your research. But this time round, you'll actually see that even Mudavadi, who was not in with Raila Odinga and co, has actually come to the fore. So that
but remember, also in 2013, they did not vote overwhelmingly for Musalia Mudavadi. That's Western Kenya.
Musalia Mudavadi Betty had over 500 votes, let me tell you. And majority was from his block. And that, if you pull that block back to what Raila Odinga got, actually it will be a game changer. But more importantly, look at it now. It's solidified. And to tell you the truth in terms of what my colleague panelist has indicated, Western Province has in the past not voted as a unit. They voted differently. But they started voting as a block unit from 2007, 2013, and now it's even expected to be more of like 99%. So that if you actually take what he's saying, that the 5% or 8% comes from this other region, and you actually take my assertion that it is the opposition stronghold, and give them even 7%, 7% plus 43% already matches what?
Okay, so we'll come back to the conversation. And that's at the top of the hour. I'd like to hear what you have to say about these opinion polls and really the election process and the campaigns that we've had in the last couple of weeks. That's coming up in a short while. For now, we'll take that break when we're coming back in a few minutes with our second hour of News Center. Don't go away. We'll be right back.